Hey there everyone, welcome to Violet Stream Tarot. Today's reading is going to be friendship based. So what I mean by that is we're looking into what a friend or perhaps a former friend is thinking about you, feeling about you, the sorts of thoughts and feelings that come to mind for them whenever they happen to think about you. So you might be asking about a current friend, or you could be asking about someone that you consider a friend, but maybe you've fallen out with them recently, or maybe there's been some issues within the friendship and you're just kind of wondering how they're feeling from their side. Some of you might be asking about former friends, and this was partly the reason why I felt inspired to do this reading, was I suddenly felt, maybe there are people in this situation who would like a more of a specific reading. So some of you could even be asking about friends from your childhood, like people you haven't seen for decades potentially, or maybe you're asking about a friend that you haven't spoken to for a number of years. Someone you've lost contact with perhaps, or maybe there was a falling out or there was some ghosting, it doesn't really matter. But I thought there's a lot of these types of readings for romantic relationships, and so maybe it would be nice to have more of a platonic situation for some of you who are curious about a friend's thoughts and feelings. And I'm sure I did a reading a while back that was quite popular, that was is this person a true friend? Are they a real friend? And that one was quite popular, so maybe I can link it in the video somewhere, or maybe down below, if that's also interesting to you. But as I said, this can be any kind of friendship relationship, so past or present, doesn't really matter. Just pick the pile that you're most drawn to, and I'm going to show you them in more detail now. Also want to say a big thank you to all of my lovely subscribers and all of my patrons as well, including the lovely Kelly, who is a long-term supporter of mine. Thank you so much to all of you, and especially to Kelly, for all of your support. Do consider subscribing if you end up enjoying this video. If you're not already subscribed, it means the world to me, and it will also mean that you get notified whenever I upload a new video, especially if you have the notifications enabled. So let's look at the piles. I've picked a inner child card for each pile, partly inspired by the fact that I thought some of you might be asking about former friends or childhood friends perhaps. I'm not sure who needs to hear this today, but someone does. And this is a timeless reading, so it doesn't matter when you click on this. This will hopefully have a message for you regardless of time. So group one, you got the 8 of Hearts or the 8 of Cups, and I'm saying got because I actually shuffled for these cards. I didn't choose them myself. So 8 of Hearts or Cups on pile 1, and the deck is the Happy Tarot. I also tried to choose kind of childlike tarot decks, or decks that might remind you of childhood. And if you're asking about a current friend, or someone that you knew only as an adult, then it really doesn't matter. This was just something I thought that might be fun, especially for those of you in the former friendship situation. Group 2, you have 4 of Hearts or 4 of Cups, and the Faerie Tarot. Not sure if that's focusing properly. Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay, so those two were two sort of mermaid decks, and then here you've got fairies, 8 of Wands for group 3, and the Neopets Tarot. Okay, so that was your close-up of each of the piles. Take your time with this, pick based on your intuition. Sorry, I'm going to have to hold this up to refocus the camera. There we go. Pick based on your intuition. I would say take your time, but don't overthink it. If you're struggling to pick a pile, if you're feeling drawn to more than one, then maybe watch both. They might both have a message for you. If you're asking about multiple people and you want to have individual readings for each of them, then my advice is to just choose one first, like choose person 1 and let your intuition guide you to the deck for them, and watch that video and then come back for the next one, because I think when you're trying to choose multiple options at once, it can make your intuition a little bit muddled. So my advice for those of you in that situation is just pick one first, watch the reading for that person, or as it pertains to that person, and then come back to the intro and pick for your second person, and so on. Because that will probably be the clearest way of doing it. But yeah, choose where you're feeling drawn, have fun with it. I hope this is helpful for you guys, and I will get started with pile 1 when you are ready. Hi there, group 1. Welcome to your reading. This is for those of you who chose 8 of Hearts or 8 of Cups as your card and the Happy Tarot as your deck. So I'm going to put this card just here next to Gizmond. He can look after it for us. It might have some meaning for your reading. When I think of this card normally, like in just any general tarot deck, I would think about feeling overwhelmed or perhaps underwhelmed, burnt out, seeking something more meaningful. So possibly that has some meaning for your relationship with this person. Maybe someone was burnt out at work and that meant that they weren't available emotionally for the relationship. Maybe you're just feeling underwhelmed by this person's behavior towards you, or perhaps overwhelmed. Maybe they're coming along too strongly. Also, what I'm drawn to in this card in particular are the little mermaid children here, merfolk children. They're playing instruments, and these musical notes are sort of floating in the water, representing the music they're making. So maybe there's also a creative element to this relationship. Maybe the person you're asking about is someone who is very artistic or creative, or maybe you've met them through some kind of creative context. Maybe you have a shared love of music or a similar taste in interior design or something, fashion perhaps. Just take what resonates. But group 1, let's take a look at how this person is feeling, how they think or feel towards you. And when I say how they're feeling, I'm fully aware that some of you might be asking about people who you haven't spoken to in years, perhaps even decades. So, it's not necessarily that they're sitting at home thinking about you right now in this particular way, but maybe this is to do with, you want to ask, when I come to mind for them, when they're reminded of me, what do they think? How do they feel? What comes up for them? And similarly, if this is someone you've fallen out with, or a friend that you've lost touch with, perhaps you're kind of thinking of the same thing. So group 1, let's see. How does this person think and feel towards you, group 1? Okay, so let's take a look, see what we have. So Queen of Wands was your first card. That's Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It's very creative, like the music that these children are making. Also have 3 of Wands. Then also the Tower. And then High Priestess. Interesting. I get the feeling that this person admires you, group 1. There's an element here of this person thinks you're really talented or really successful or really creative in a way. Perhaps you're the creative one, but I just kind of get the sense that this person, whether they've spoken about it or not, they've always really appreciated or acknowledged or been aware of your talents, so maybe they're the sort of person that hasn't necessarily said it to your face, but maybe when they've been talking about you to other people, they might be like, oh yeah, my friend, oh, they're so talented, or like, yeah, they're really good at this thing, or they're so clever, or so skilled at this, or they're so successful, they've got this amazing job, or they did this degree, or they went to this great uni. Like, they have this high opinion of you, which is really nice. Like, it's quite wholesome actually, the way that they admire you. I am sort of getting distance with this 3 of Wands. Maybe you don't live near this person. Maybe one of you moved away. Maybe you've never lived near them. Perhaps it's an online relationship that you're asking about, like a friendship that you made online. Some of you, this might just be representing the distance of time, like you haven't spoken to each other or seen each other in a very long time. But I think this person is kind of aware of distance and is sort of thinking like, oh yeah, this person, you know, I met them online, we've never met in person, or they live in a different country, or yeah, we grew up together, but now they've moved away. So that is in their mind. Also, the Tower is really interesting to me here because this suggests that there has been some kind of event that has separated you or has been like difficult for you. So this is going to be different for everyone because obviously, you know, not everyone is going to be asking about a relationship where you're no longer in touch. But I think for some of you, there was quite a big thing that separated you. Whether you're aware of it or not, like the reason why I say that is because the High Priestess is quite quiet and it's kind of next to this. So I'm wondering if, you know, some of you, it might be obvious, like maybe you moved away, you know, you moved away. There you go. It's hard to keep in touch a lot of the time if you move away. That is what separated you. Some of you, it might have been you went to primary school together and then you went to different secondary schools, or you went to different universities, like very different places. Your lives kind of split. You know, that was the thing. For others, though, it's more of like there was an argument. There was a betrayal of some kind. That is what tore you apart. And so I think for those of you that have had this separation from a friend, this person is always, like pretty much always brought to mind this situation when they think of you. So they think about that argument, or they think about the fact that you moved away and how sad that was, you know? And for some of you, you know, I mentioned that it might not be obvious. Perhaps this person ghosted you or just stopped being as present for you, and that was upsetting, and you've come to this reading wondering why that was. I think in that case, the issue is, and there was an issue, they were going through something. Some of you, you might not be aware, but they may have had a mental health crisis. They may have been fired from a job or thought they were about to be fired. They may have had a really bad breakup, a bereavement. But with the High Priestess, it feels like if that was the case, they didn't tell you about it. So you were kind of unaware that that was going on. And it just meant that they weren't able to keep up with relationships in quite the same way. But yeah, I definitely get this sense of like for many of you, this person, when they think about you, they think, oh yeah, that person, they were there and then they weren't. You know, it's like, it's quite sudden. I'm actually tearing up a little bit thinking about it because I think this person does get a little bit upset when they think about it. It's like, oh, that person was such a great friend, and they sort of like, they reminisce about, you know, oh, they were so talented, or they were amazing, they were such fun to be around. You know, the Queen of Wands represents someone who's really like charismatic and bubbly and feisty and they creative, and they just think, yeah, it was great to spend that time with that person. And then they remember, oh, but they're so far away. Oh, because of this. Oh, you know, that's like the trajectory. You were there and then you weren't. And that could be entirely their fault. You know, as we said, it could be that they went through something that they didn't tell you about that resulted in them going silent. But that's just how they think about it in their mind. Like, there's a sadness there. Do not drink poison. Number 8. Don't do things you know are bad for you. Interesting. Yeah, some of you, maybe this person is afraid to reach out because they don't want to dredge up the past. They don't want to get back into arguments. Maybe they don't quite feel stable enough to bring that into their life. They don't want the, you know, the upheaval emotionally. Talisman, 49. Let's get a few more cards. How is this person feeling? The Thinking Woman, 47. Yeah, this really fits with the Queen of Wands. Like, they really seem to think of you as being very intelligent, very talented. Perhaps they think a lot about things you've said that were funny, or things that you came up with that they thought were really clever, like plays on words or jokes and things. Fragmented energy, number 6. Yeah, so there is definitely an issue here with this person kind of not feeling 100% right now. And this may have contributed to how they were feeling before, when this all blew up, or when you sort of lost contact with them, if that's what has happened. Yeah. I'm trying to, obviously it's very different for different people because you've all come here with such diverse situations. So I'm trying not to just funnel it down one particular route, but let me just digest the messages that are coming in. I think this person kind of feels older and wiser now from a lot of the things that they've experienced, and they perhaps think that they wouldn't act or react in the same way nowadays if they were in that same situation again, group 1. But I'm also strongly picking up on like this person's health is not good, or they're going through a big transition period in their life. Maybe they just got married, maybe they just became a parent, maybe they're just going through a difficult time financially. It just feels like they're juggling some things. And so almost like they don't have the headspace right now to reach out or to show up in the way that you'd like them to, friendship-wise. This also kind of makes me feel like they think of you as a very sensible person. Like we've talked already about you being intelligent in their mind, being clever, being talented. Like there's also something where they think you make good choices, or perhaps even better choices than they do. Like maybe they are also thinking that their life maybe hasn't quite worked out in the way that they would have liked, and yours has done much better because you're a much more sensible person, or you plan ahead, you know, or you're just so much more together. Like with this fragmented energy, I get the feeling that this person is perhaps quite an anxious person, maybe just feels like they're just not very together, like quite scattered. And they see you as being different from that. Okay. A couple of cards from this deck. So, Escapist, come home to yourself, 32. Interesting. And I see it's a spell book, but I actually kind of thought when I was looking at that, I thought that it was like a scrapbook or like a photo album. And expectations, don't seek anyone else's approval. Number 12. So the way I see those cards is that I feel as though this person is, they actually do think about you. You know, I've mentioned that some of you, this is maybe like a really old friend that you haven't spoken to in a very long time. And, you know, they don't think about you that often, but I think actually this person does think about you. This come home to yourself and the way it looked like a photo album to me. I don't know if they maybe have any mementos of you physically like that. Maybe there's like gifts you've bought them, things you've made, possibly going back to the talented thing that they have in their home. Or if they have physical photos or letters maybe from you, postcards, etc. Or if it's just about like checking up on you on social media, you know, seeing what's there online. But I do think this person thinks about you. And I think they almost like, they're almost a little bit idealistic in a way about your relationship. So I think they almost see it as being, oh, you know, we were so young then, we were so carefree, we were so innocent. Like they look back on it as being quite romanticized in that sense. For those of you who are, this is like a current relationship, that this person's still in your life actively, I think this is more about this person just feeling that they get on very well with you and that they can go, you know, a few months not speaking to you. And then when they do see you again, it's like, oh, it's like we just spoke yesterday. You know, it's that easy to just slot back into how things were. I also get the sense that this person really, again, sort of admires you for being who you are and not making, not feeling like you have to fit in, not desiring anyone's approval. Really a lot of admiration for that. I think this person wishes they could be as confident as you. But also I think with this card, I'm picking up on that message, but also for some of you, for those that this resonates with your situation, this person is feeling like, yeah, I didn't behave perfectly and I would probably behave differently now if I were in that situation now, but I've made my peace with that. So I think as much as this person looks back, and if it's a situation where they have been the one to ghost you or the one to block you after an argument or something, like they kind of look back at it and think, oh, it's such a shame that happened. But they also kind of think, I'm not going to dredge up the past and berate myself for it. Like I made my decision and I've made my peace with it. Yeah. What's this? This is Wreck-It Ralph. And what is he doing? Looks like he's putting things back together. So reparation, forgiveness, repair. I do get the feeling this person would quite like to improve your relationship, group one. Perhaps not right now. The fragmented energy and things kind of points towards this person kind of not being in the best place at the moment. For better or for worse, they could just be going through a really busy and exciting time for them, and that means they don't have the headspace, or it could be something more challenging for them. But I just feel as though they're just not quite in the right place right now, but they secretly have this hope that things will improve in future and that you can get your relationship back onto an even keel. If this is to do with someone that you're currently friends with, then I think this is just saying they hope that any disagreements can be paved over. They hope that you can move on from anything you've maybe said in the past that has hurt each other. For a lot of you, I do get the sense that this friend is or was someone who was kind of flaky, isn't quite the word, but I just feel like for many of you, this person didn't show up for you in the way that you hoped they would. More than once, like not just on one occasion, but I think quite a few times this person wasn't there for you in the way you wanted them to be, or you had certain expectations of what friendship is and what people do for each other, and this person kind of let you down on that. And quite a few times, and maybe surprised you, because they don't seem like, from my feelings, like I'm not getting anything here about nastiness or bullying or anything. I just kind of get the sense that this person, maybe is kind of anxious, maybe is kind of scatterbrained, doesn't always make the best choices, and then is kind of the person that's like, okay, I made this terrible decision. Looks like I'm going with that now. Oh dear, and they don't try and salvage it necessarily. They just kind of go ahead with it. And live with the consequences. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing. Let's keep going. I should mention oh my goodness, I forgot to mention this. Group one, at the end of your reading, and I'm going to be doing this at the end of all of the piles, I'm going to be opening the literary book of answers to get an answer to an adjacent question for you. So if you have a question about this person or your relationship that's maybe not being answered in the reading as a whole, do hold on to it for the end of the reading, because we'll try and get an answer for you from the book. If there's nothing necessarily that springs to mind, maybe see if you can think of a question related to this, and we'll see if we can get an answer from the book for you. Sorry for not mentioning that earlier. Okay, you have Der Krieger, the warrior, and you also have Der Lehrer, the teacher. Do you get the sense that for many of you, this person considers themselves to be less well educated than you, or just less intelligent than you in some way? Addict. Light attribute helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. Shadow attributes compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. So maybe one of you has struggled with addiction issues. Maybe that's why this person has been kind of flaky or let you down. Maybe this is just more of a metaphor to say, you know, this person hasn't always been there. They've been quite selfish sometimes, but I kind of get the sense that it's not deliberately, you know, in the way that like an addict, they're not necessarily choosing to be selfish. They are being consumed by the addiction, and that is creating selfish behaviors. I think it's kind of similar with this, where this person is like anxious or gets themselves really, really wound up about a situation, and then ends up making the worst possible choice. Like they're trying so hard to make the best possible choice and thinking about it so much that they end up making the worst choice and everyone's annoyed with them. It's that kind of feeling that I get. The warrior is interesting. It's kind of fierce. We did point to feistiness earlier on, this person seeing you as strong and feisty. Mugwort, intuition. Maybe you've ended up like unknowingly thinking about each other at the same time. Maybe this person sees you as naturally quite perceptive, naturally quite spiritual, able to read a room really well and know kind of how to handle a situation, and they kind of admire that because they don't feel that that's the case with themselves. Here, falsche Geisteshaltung, Angst vor Versagen. So 64, this is wrong attitude or bad attitude, and 45 is fear of failure. And this one really hits strongly because I really think that this person in the past or even in the present, like they try so hard to make the right choice, and then they just end up messing things up. And they become so anxious because they're like, oh, there was that time that I wasn't there for so-and-so, or there was that time that I said I'd go to that thing and then I got so panicked about it that I didn't. And then, you know, they were upset with me, understandably. Like, you see what I mean? This person's afraid of failure, but also, you know, keeps doing things that mess things up. Also, the wrong attitude or bad attitude. Maybe this person has felt like they just haven't approached things in the best way in the past. What's this? Mildew Fairy, cleanup time, number 15. This person wants to set things right, group 1, and it might not be straight away. Here, your base card is Mend a Broken Heart Fairy, healing from heartache, 36. So they definitely want to fix things. They don't want it to always be this way. Or if there has been a misunderstanding in a current relationship, they would like to clear the air. I just think they just currently are just not in the right place. But they do want to fix things here. So let's add your charms and dice on top now, group 1. If you're new, these are what I call the toppings to my reading. Sometimes we use different things like divination tokens or runes, but usually it's charms and dice. Let's do your charms first. I'm going to pull from the charm tin. Okay, so flamingo, your other half, thinking about how flamingos are often in pairs, especially as ornaments, like those kitschy garden ornaments where they're put together in a pair because their necks make a heart shape. This always makes me think of your other half, or like someone who fits you really well. I think, honestly, like, as much as I see for some of you that there has been an argument or a falling out or a misunderstanding, I don't think that the majority of your relationship was like that. Like, I honestly feel as though this person is quite agreeable. Like fairly easy to get along with for your personality, at least. Like you seem to fit quite well together. So they see you as someone who is like a really good match for them in terms of friendship, or like they see you as someone who has a similar sense of humor to them or is on the same sort of wavelength. You know, we mentioned that maybe you have a shared love of music or art or creative hobbies. So that's what they see. Cupcake, treats. Really enjoy spending time with you. They find that really enjoyable. The key, this is positive. Again, this does suggest that they want to fix things. If there is something that is amiss, the key makes me think of unlocking a situation, unblocking stuck energy, opening new doors, new opportunities. You've also got a letter, F. Maybe their name begins with F. Maybe they're called Francis or Felicia or Fred or something. Maybe your name begins with F, or perhaps their surname. Maybe their surname is like Fredrickson or something like that. Maybe F has some other meaning for you. You might get a word come to mind. Maybe it's a place, an initial. You know, always have fun with the letters. Maybe you both grew up in a town that began with the letter F, or you went to a school that had the letter F or something like that. Just take what resonates. Sagittarius is showing up. So that could be a zodiac sign for one of you. Also Pisces with the fish. I do get the sense that even if this person doesn't have Pisces traits, that they are kind of someone who goes with the flow. Okay, I would say that one of the possibly like more frustrating elements of Pisces, if you're their friend, is that Pisces kind of like water, much like water, kind of takes the path of least resistance. And that can mean that they don't fight for their convictions very much, or they don't always, do what they might secretly really want to do. They might think about it so intensely and then just never end up acting upon it. So some of you might be feeling really let down by this person, and deep down they're also thinking like, I let that person down. I 100% agree I let that person down. I should have done this. I should have been there for them. But they took the path of least resistance, you know, whatever was easier for them because they were struggling with other things or because they just got so wound up thinking about it. That was what they did. Saxophone. Yeah. Art and music and creativity keeps showing up. The elephant, memory. As I said, like, I really think this person does think about you fairly often, actually. Like, maybe not, you know, I'm not saying they sit and think about you every day, but I think perhaps relative to the amount of time that you maybe haven't spoken to them, this person thinks about you quite a lot, or they're reminded of you quite often, especially if they still live in your hometown or something, or they still work at the workplace where you got to know each other. Like, they're reminded of you because of things they see in their environment, and so they think about you fairly regularly, and they have a lot of really nice memories, is what I can see. A lot of really nice memories about you. You have the bone, like a dog with a bone. Maybe this person sees you as very determined. Maybe sometimes they felt overwhelmed by you because they felt like you were kind of intense sometimes, or your expectations of them didn't live up to what they were able to offer. Snowflake, wintertime. Maybe one or both of you is born in winter. Maybe that was when you last saw them or spoke to them. Maybe when you got to know them. Snowflake also makes me think of vulnerability, sensitivity. Little bird in the birdhouse. Loneliness, wanting more friends. So much here that suggests this person does actually want to be in your life. So if they're not, this might be quite a frustrating thing to hear, group one, because you're sitting there thinking, well, why aren't they unblocking me, or why aren't they in my inbox or whatever. But there is also this thing about this doesn't feel like quite the right time for them. Just take what resonates. You have the dog, very alert dog here. I think this person's very aware of their behavior and maybe how they could have been better in the past. There is hope hope for the future with the candle, and also adventure with the ship there. This is a little broken charm. Used to mean something happening suddenly. Maybe that's also relevant because we did get that tower. Ship, you know, kind of also brings to mind the Three of Wands as well. So distance, travel. Strongly getting the feeling that for many of you this is an online relationship, or it has involved one of you moving away. Geographical distance. For many of you, this person thinks that you are very adventurous because you moved away. You went to the city. You got that great education and that great job, and they're still in your hometown. Like, their life hasn't really moved on in the same way. And so they think of you as this kind of glamorous, adventurous person who's done these incredible things. Let's get your dice. Which set of dice are we rolling? Group 1. Number 6. Okay, lovely. Those are the Voyagers dice. So Voyagers, travel. It's all showing up again. Let's see. Grab those dice. Interestingly as well, your reading has a lot of greens and reds, just in case that has a meaning for you. Green and red. Okay, that was a 0, so I'm rolling again. Group 1. How many dice am I rolling for you? Okay, all 9 from the Voyagers dice. And don't forget that we're straight after this, we're getting an answer to a question from the Book of Answers. So if you haven't thought of a question already, try and think of one. Okay. Interesting. Okay, there's a lot here about power and wealth and authority and success. So you have both the bag of money and the treasure chest. So this person potentially sees you as wealthier than them or having a better lifestyle than them. You've also got the ladder, which to me is like climbing the ladder, like going up a level, climbing the property ladder perhaps, or the career ladder. Like, they really see you as more successful in that respect. And you have the crown, so authority. See you as someone who is very decisive, and this looks very much like the crown on the Queen of Wands head there. So you know, they see you as powerful and strong and, you know, confident. A lot of the things that they don't really see within themselves. Maybe you made them feel more confident when they're around you, or more powerful. There is the cactus. So this is about someone being prickly. Maybe they struggled to get close to you sometimes, or they felt like you were someone who goes through a lot of tough stuff by yourself. Doesn't necessarily involve other people in those struggles. The rain cloud, sadness, like genuinely, like, you know, I was tearing up earlier in your reading, Group 1. I really felt as though this person, when they're reminded of you, they think, oh yeah, that time that was so much fun. And then they remember, you know, it's like that sudden, like sort of kick to the stomach kind of feeling. And I think, you know, sometimes they do tear up thinking about it. They do think, oh my God, you know, they're just out and about, and then they walk past some place where there's some memory connected to you, and they're like, oh yeah, that time that was so funny. And then as they're like in the laughter moment, or the smile comes to their face, and they suddenly remember, oh, but we don't speak anymore because of this thing. But then that was only 2 months before they moved away, and there's suddenly that like sadness that comes up within them. So yeah, that is really quite powerful, Group 1. How much this person still has that strength of emotion about you. There is the person pointing and looking angry. Maybe one of you told the other person to go, or to leave, or to stop contacting them. Maybe there were some harsh words exchanged. You know, as I said, some of you might be blocked by this person, or vice versa. I think there has been an argument in some cases. You have the Japanese dice. This is just a geography marker for those of you for whom it resonates, which won't be everyone, but there could be a connection to Japan in this relationship. Maybe one of you is of Japanese heritage, or maybe has a Japanese name, even if it's not originally like that was intended. Like there are some names that are a name in Japan and then coincidentally also a name somewhere else, like Naomi, for example. That could be the case. Maybe you both bonded over a love of anime or manga or Japanese fabrics or something. If you both like making clothes, or you love fashion, like maybe that is what this is. Or you both love Japanese food or something. Take it how it resonates. It won't fit for everyone, but it's a nice little special confirmation for those of you for whom it does. And then finally, you have the City of the Future, which always makes me think about someone dreaming of the future, sort of having an imaginary future in their minds. So this person, you know, I've said it so many times, but they really do hope to see you again if they don't currently have contact with you, or they hope to patch things up in future. So group 1, let's finish this slightly longer reading today with your book of answers. So just pause the video if you need more time to think of a question. But if you already have it, let's focus in on your question now and see what answer we can get to this question. Okay, give it mouth. Okay, Charles Dickens, Great Expectations. I wanted to say Great Expressions there. Great Expectations. Give it mouth. Great expressions. Maybe there is something you need to say to this person, or that they need to say to you, group 1. Maybe that is the key to the answer in your question there. Obviously, all of those answers in the book are literary quotes, so they're not necessarily just yes or no. But give it mouth makes me think like feisty. It makes me think like expression, like, you know, some of you will be finding a way to contact this person, or there is things that they need to say to you. And that's the key to your question there. So yeah, really, really interesting, group 1. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful. Please do like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed. I would love to welcome you on board into our lovely community here, and sharing with a friend or liking this video, subscribing massively helps out my channel. So please do consider doing that, because it's completely free and makes a big difference to me. Would also love to hear in the comments how this resonated. Let me know if you enjoyed this kind of reading. I know it's slightly unusual for tarot, because it's not kind of spiritual or love related necessarily, or even really predictions, but let me know if you enjoyed this. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, group 1. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye. Hi there, group 2. Welcome to your reading. This is for those of you who chose the 4 of Hearts or 4 of Cups, and also the Faerie Tarot for your reading. So we will put the 4 of Hearts just here next to Gismund, who will look after it for us. But just to pay a little bit of attention to the symbolism here, you've got 3 mermaids who are riding these dolphins, looking like they're having a great time, wearing these heart-shaped necklaces. And then you've got this mermaid who is clutching the remnants of a broken ship, like a shipwreck, and she has a broken heart pendant and she's crying. So this might or might not be relevant to your situation. You might have had a falling out with the person you're asking about. There might have been bullying, or someone choosing someone choosing someone else over you. Maybe you just felt left out by this person. 4 of Cups also relates to kind of boredom, apathy, lack of energy, lack of enthusiasm, feeling underwhelmed. So that can also relate to your situation. So today, as always, we're doing cards, which includes tarot and oracle cards. We're also doing charms and dice, what I call my toppings on the reading. So we always do charms and dice on this channel. Sometimes we do something a little bit different, like rune stones or divination tokens, but usually it's charms and dice, and that's what we're doing today. And then at the end of the reading, I forgot to tell group 1 about this. So at the end of the reading, we will be using the literary book of answers. And basically this is to get an answer to a question that you have adjacent to the reading that we're doing today. So if there is a question about this person that doesn't quite get answered in the main reading, hold on to it and we'll see if we can get an answer for it at the end of the reading. It'll be a literary quote that comes out, and we'll try and get that as an answer for you. If you don't have any particular question in mind, you can just take some time to think of one while you're watching the reading. Okay, group 2. Let's see. How is this person thinking about you? How are they feeling about you? Let's have a look. Okay. What do we have here? So, 6 of Winter, 6 of Swords in this deck. Positive changes are on their way. A welcome relief from troubled times, traveling or relocating. Now that's interesting because that was a theme in group 1, that perhaps one of you has moved away, and that's why the friendship has perhaps broken down. Or, you know, for those of you who are still in touch with this person, maybe it's like an online relationship. You made friends with someone online, or maybe, you know, you're just not living in the same place as each other. Release. This is the Death card. Let go of the past, an ending that makes way for new opportunities. Time to move on. This is a Scorpio card. Justice, Libra. Take the time to review the details carefully. You will win in the end. Fair and objective decisions. I kind of read that as faith though. Faith and objective decisions. So maybe that also has some meaning. So one of you could be a Scorpio or a Libra. And the Wheel. 3 major arcana cards. Wow. Delays are over. Sudden or unexpected good luck. A new car or travel. So travel again. Interesting. Okay, group 2. So I have to talk about the travel. Possibly, you know, this person is at a distance from you. Maybe one of you moved away. Maybe you have never lived near each other and this is more of a online thing, or you originally met each other on holiday or at an event or through work and you've never lived near each other. This person is aware of that distance. That's something that they think of when they think of you. They think, oh, well, they're not living here anymore, or, you know, they're not from round here. There is something here about a situation improving. So I almost get the sense that this person had kind of like, for those of you who aren't speaking to this person, they'd sort of confined your relationship to the past. And then something has happened to make them rethink that. Maybe they bumped into you in town, or maybe one of you has got in touch with the other one kind of out of the blue. Maybe they'd kind of just made their peace with this relationship being over, and then out of nowhere a friend of theirs mentioned you, and it just brought back a load of sort of thoughts and feelings and reminiscences. Justice is interesting as well, especially given the imagery on this card that someone was perhaps badly treated or mistreated. Let's get straight into your Oracle cards, group 2. Let's get all of the information. Stuck in the Mud, number 24. Yeah, for many of you, this is a relationship that hasn't really done anything for a long time. Like, I genuinely believe that a lot of you here are asking about like a friend that you had decades ago. You know, like a school friend or a childhood friend, or someone that you maybe last spoke to a few years ago. It's that kind of sense of nothing has happened for quite some time. Also, for a lot of you, there has been a situation in this relationship where one of you is badly treated, and this person wants to set that right. And if they were the one who left you out of something or bullied you or didn't treat you very well, they feel badly about that. and they feel like they were restricted in some way from making it right previously. I'm getting that for some of you, this person was very young and was kind of under peer pressure to do or say certain things or to behave a certain way. Manage to be glad. Number 43, create your own happiness regardless of conditions. So that does tell me that this person has tried to make their peace with things. You have growing up, wanting to grow in experience, rejection of perpetual youth as your base card there. So many of you, as I said, this is a childhood relationship. This person has since matured. They've grown up. They're not the same person anymore. They're not the same person that would be catty or make, nasty comments to you, or would be, sort of bitchy with friendship groups or whatever it might be. They've moved on from that now. But I also get the sense that they are aware that their behavior was, less than great. They're aware that they didn't treat you very well, if that is, if that resonates with your situation. Happy family, number 4. Indecision, number 8. So happy family is nice. That suggests positive feelings. I always think of the 10 of Cups when I see that card. So this person sees you as being or having been a good friend. Planning and action. Number 2, planning and action. So you have indecision and planning and action. Perhaps this person is simply unaware or unsure of how to change things, how to set things right. They want to apologize perhaps, or they want to make things better. They're just unsure as to how to go about that. And maybe it is because of the distance. It's not like they can just invite you round for coffee or for dinner, just really informally. It feels like doing something or meeting up would require quite a lot of planning. And that's kind of like a sticking point for them, group 2. For those of you who are still in contact with this person, it does feel like they're in a bit of a rut. Some of you have maybe been suggesting to this person for a while that you'd like to meet up, or you've been inviting them to things and they haven't been coming along. They're aware of those bad decisions or those poor choices. They're aware that they've been unfair to you, but they kind of feel in a rut somehow, unsure of how to break free of it. Rebirth or new birth, new beginnings. Really, a lot of you, it feels like there has been something recently that has changed their perception or that has brought you back into their mind. Sun, paint the sun back into your sky, number 11. That's lovely. I think whether they've consciously acknowledged and accepted it or not, I think this person has been carrying around some guilt for a while about the way that they have acted or the way that they've treated you. I'm genuinely seeing that for many of you, this is a situation where you were good friends with this person all throughout primary school, and then as soon as you got to secondary school, they just turned on you and went off with a load of cool girls, and they were mean to you, or they just left you out of their friendship group or whatever. Because I get this sense of this person appreciated you and feels as though they didn't give you what you deserved, or they didn't live up to the way that you treated them, if that makes sense. Obviously it's different for everyone. I'm trying to fit in as many different situations as possible, but that is a strong feeling that I'm picking up for many. Is this was someone who unexpectedly turned on you, or who I am feeling that for some of you there was bullying, or this person just let you down repeatedly, or ghosted you. This person doesn't want to be that bad person anymore. Die Geschichtenerzählerin. Okay, this person sees you as a storyteller. They see you as someone with lots of stories, someone who's very creative, imaginative. Maybe they think you love to read. Maybe they think that you're quite theatrical and funny and dramatic and can really like act out a narrative really well when you're retelling something that happened or something like that. Child magical. Wow. Light attributes. What does that say? Seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things. The belief that everything is possible. Shadow attributes: pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles. Believing that energy and action are not required for growth. So this person does see something magical about you. Like these 3 cards. And then also the card of the wheel. Makes me think that this person sees you as... It's weird. Like, this, again, will probably only resonate for those of you who are asking about a childhood friend, but it's like they associate you with a better time. Does that make sense? Like, some of you were friends in primary school, and so they remember you as being someone who was their friend when everything was magical, like when everything was possible, and, you know, it was exciting and every day was fun and interesting, and now they've grown up and that's not really what the world is like for them. And so they think about you as being sort of, in their mind, you are still in that time. Like maybe when they think about you, they don't think about the adult you, they think about you as like a 7-year-old child or whatever, like 11, 4 years old even, like whatever it might be. They think about you as being, you know, young, small and chubby and freckled. Like that's how they see you in their mind. And it kind of like just reminds them of a time when they were innocent and when things were easier. And for those of you for whom that doesn't resonate at all, doesn't apply because you met this person as an adult, I think this is just a message of saying that this person sees you as being, again, slightly magical. There's something whimsical, there's something imaginative, there's something twinkly about you. You always have a twinkle in your eye, according to them. Maybe they think that you don't quite see the world as being so challenging as they do. Maybe they think that they are quite cynical and pessimistic in comparison to you, and that you are always able to paint the sun into the sky. You are always able to see the magic that is there, or you're always able to think of things in a more positive way than they are able to. Immortality, coriander. Yeah, this hugely fits for those of you that are asking about a former friend. Because, you know, as I said, you are immortalized in their mind as a young child or as a teenager, or, you know, however you were back then. And even if you met when you were adults, they think of you as being how you were then. You know, maybe you were in your 20s, now you're in your 30s, but they still see you as a 20-something, like living the kind of life that you had then, etc. Immortality also kind of suggests that they have memories of you that will never fade. For whatever reason, you know, and this can apply regardless of when you met this person, how old you were, etc. Like they have some memories of you that will stay with them for life. Okay, Glück, number 36, that is luck or happiness. It's the second mention of luck that you've had because you also had the wheel. And Schurke, villain, number 48. This person definitely feels as though they have behaved badly in the past. Like it's almost like they are owning the fact that, yeah, do you know what? I was a bully. I bullied that person. Or, yeah, actually, I was so horrible to that person. I can't believe I was so horrible to them. Why was I so horrible? Like that's the sort of thought process that I see this person having. Like when they think of you, they think of these memories they have that are so strong for them still, you know, regardless of whether they happened 30 years ago or whatever. They're still such powerful memories. Almost like it was yesterday that they were there doing that thing with you. And then it's like they remember, oh wait, but also like a few years later, I did this awful thing, or I was so unkind to them, or, you know, whatever it was. So this person does seem to own up to the fact that they treated you badly. Pink Lotus Faerie, A Time for Spirit, number 43. They see you as quite spiritual. This fits in with the whimsical message as well. Like they see you as kind of, what's the word? It's like you're able to see things that other people can't, or you have a unique perspective that other people don't quite see. And so you bring something really special and really valuable to every interaction that you have. And so, you know, some of you, it might be that you're kind of going back to Glück, like happy-go-lucky kind of person. And the person you're asking about is thinking, you know, I wish I could be as happy-go-lucky as them. Like I wish I could, you know, be so carefree and not worry about things and always see the bright side of a situation. For some of you, it might be that you have this kind of spiritual view where you're able to say, you know, this happened and that was terrible, but I trust in the universe, or I trust that there's a reason or a lesson behind it, or, you know, there is a higher power that has a plan. Maybe this person really, really struggles to think in these terms and thinks, you know, going back to faith that I saw, that I sort of read wrongly, maybe they wish that they had such a faith, you know. Take what resonates, but I think that is quite interesting as to how this person sees you as kind of quite different from many, many people that they've ever met. Like, I think they really see you as being like, yeah, this person stands out to me because they are so different from anyone I've ever met. They're so unique. I will remember them forever. Like, that is kind of the thought that I have there. So let's look at your charms and dice now, group 2. And for those of you who are new, I'll be pulling charms from this charm tin. Then we'll be putting dice on top as well. I sort of call these things my toppings for the reading, different toppings. And then obviously we'll do your book of answers as well, like I mentioned. So... Hey, it's interesting how you have live, love, laugh there. Like this person sees you as able to just kind of not sweat the small stuff, or able to sort of count your blessings much more than they do. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look at what else you've got. And if you're enjoying this reading, please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. It means an awful lot to me personally. Consider letting me know in the comments how you are resonating with this, liking, sharing it with a friend. All of that makes a huge difference to my channel. So you have the bell, which is about good news or something that you are happy about and want to share with others. And it's interesting that it's landing on this paint the sun back into your sky. Maybe this person has heard about some good news that you've recently had, or they've just recently been updated about how your life has turned out, you know, especially if they're a former friend. And, you know, they're like, oh, wow, they're doing so well for themselves kind of thing. Also, this just kind of seems to suggest that you're a happy person. You're someone who is quite upbeat. You try and look on the bright side of things. Angel's wings. Maybe they see you as a really selfless kind of person, really kind person. You also have a guardian angel over here. So angels are quite heavy around this situation, really hovering over it. You have the pumpkin, autumn. Maybe this person's birthday is in autumn, or your birthday is, or maybe you first met them in autumn, or maybe that was the last time you spoke to them. Little Red Riding Hood. Don't let anyone pull you off your path. Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood is interesting because obviously she's like a child. So again, you know, childhood. This could be a childhood friend, and this person still sees you as this child in their mind. Also, there's like that message of don't let anyone tempt you away from your path, lure you away. They really see you as someone who is like, you're yourself. You don't adapt yourself to other people. You don't kind of let other people pressure you into things or make you feel like the way you dress or the things you're interested in are uncool or, you know, whatever. Like, you are just yourself and you enjoy that. And this person admires that, I think. You have the letter L. That could be a name. This person could be called Lucy. They could be called Lily, Luke, Liam, etc. Maybe their surname begins with L. Maybe that's something to do with your name. Maybe it's a word that comes to you, perhaps. Maybe maybe you both lived in a place that began with L or worked at a company that began with L. You know, just take what resonates with the letters. Always have fun with those. Reindeer, being guided. Princess. Princess always makes me think about someone who deserves to be treated well. So again, this is to do with like this person being aware that they didn't always treat you in the way that you deserved. The guided message, I think, is going back to this spiritual message that you trust in a higher path or a higher power, in a way that they're not really able to do that. And, you know, they almost envy you for having that faith, I think. The bone, determination. This person sees you as determined. Possibly in the past they've felt that you've been intense or you've come across quite strongly, or you have had expectations of them that they weren't able to fulfill. Sometimes that can be the message of the bone. But in general, they see you as someone who's like determined, perhaps quite goal-oriented. That definitely fits for those of you who have maybe had some good news recently or in the last sort of 2 years, perhaps, that this person has just become aware of, and, you know, they're thinking about your successes. And there's the starfish, healing, recovering something that was lost. Also a little broken charm that used to mean winter time. So that could also be a birth time, or going back to like the time that you first met or last spoke or something like that. Just take what resonates. So let's add your dice now as well, and then we'll do your Book of Answers message. Group 2. Okay, interesting. We're rolling the 6th set of dice for you, which are the Voyager's dice, and they were actually the ones that we rolled for Group 1 as well. So you got the same dice as Group 1. Okay, let's see how many we're going to roll for you. Wow, okay, this is weird. So Group 1 also got all 9 dice from the 6th box of dice. So that's really interesting. Group 2. Look at that. You've got the toadstool. Magic. Like this person really sees you as someone who's quite whimsical. Quite, yeah, something magical about you. Something twinkly or special or unique. These two, the ladder and also the treasure chest, these were in group 1's reading as well. These both suggest that this person thinks of you as being more wealthy, more successful, having a better lifestyle than them. The ladder makes me think of climbing the career ladder or the property ladder, or just going up in a level of something. And the treasure chest obviously makes me think of wealth and abundance. So they see you as being more successful than them, or richer, or having a better lifestyle. There is also the monkey, playfulness. They see you as someone who is fun, playful, creative. Maybe one of you is born in the year of the monkey. Maybe the year of the monkey was when you met or the last time you spoke. Again, with the timing things, always just take what resonates. You have the elephant. This person has some good memories of you. As I mentioned, like with the immortality and things, like this person really still has memories of you that they can clearly point to. And I'm saying still because I think for a lot of you, this is someone you haven't spoken to in a long time. And it might actually surprise you the amount of memories they have about you, or the, like, how clear those memories are. Really, really interesting. Choppy waters. Yeah, I think they get sometimes a little bit uncomfortable when they remember you, because they remember how they were. They remember some of the things they did or said, or they remember ways in which they didn't show up in the best possible way. You know, some of the memories involving you don't really paint them in the best light, if that makes sense. And so they kind of get a little bit of a embarrassed or like cringy feeling in their stomach, like I'm sort of feeling like a knot in my stomach while I'm talking about this. So it's like they remember something neutral or positive about you, and then they, like, that thought comes of, oh my god, and I did this, or I wasn't there for them, or you know, like literally I'm feeling for many of you, they shunned you, or they left you out in some way. Maybe you found out that like this person was a good friend of yours, and then you found out they'd invited like everyone at work to a party except you, and you were just devastated. Or maybe, as I said, this person went to school with you and then, you know, turned their back on you. Or maybe even like you were friends as adults or whatever, and then just out of the blue one day, you know, you saw them on the street, you waved hi to them, and they literally like turned their back, and you were like, what on earth is going on? So this person like absolutely accepts that there have been times that they did things they were really not proud of in relation to you. You do have the laser gun, attack, and also defense with the shield. They feel a bit defensive. They feel like they've attacked you. There are certain memories they would prefer to erase in terms of how they have behaved, I think. And the helmet. This always makes me think about like going through a tough time, but being prepared for it. I think in some cases where this person has been so horrible to you, or they have let you down or left you out of something, it's almost like they were going through some stuff. And so they decided that they needed someone to take it out on. And that person happened to be you. And that's really, really awful. And they, as I said, they cringe now when they think about it, because they think, gosh, that's so awful. I can't believe I did that. They get this horrible knot in their stomach thinking about it. But for whatever reason, that was like their armor. It was like you were their human shield kind of thing. Almost like a punch bag. Like you were the person that they thought, you know, I'm going through a shit time, so I'm going to make this person feel terrible as well, which is awful. And, you know, I'm absolutely not condoning it. I'm just saying that this person is aware. They haven't sort of rewritten history and pretended that didn't happen. They are aware that they behaved that way and that was awful of them. So let's finish off now with your Book of Answers, Group 2. If you haven't got a question, just pause the video to give you some time to think of one. If you have, let's get straight into it, and let's open the book for you. So just focus on your question. It'll come out, your answer, as a literary quote, and we'll try and interpret it. Okay, Group 2. You'll do yourself a mischief. Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. Now this is incredible because Group One's quote was also from Great Expectations. So it was a different quote, but it was from the same book. That's incredible. I'm wondering if some of you are also picking Group 1 to ask about a different situation, like a different person, or maybe even the same person. Maybe you've been drawn to both and you're going to get some messages from each, because that's really cool. But you'll do yourself a mischief. So what could that mean in terms of an answer to your question? It could mean that this person kind of isn't wanting to do something in case they slip up again, or in case it brings back, you know, these terrible memories, or what's the word? It's kind of like dredging up the past, you know, because they know that they've behaved badly. They accept that within themselves, but they don't necessarily want to acknowledge it outside. Like, I kind of get the feeling that they're not too comfortable with the idea of openly apologizing. Maybe they will end up doing that, but like, it does understandably make them feel awkward thinking about it. You'll do yourself a mischief. Yeah, for those of you still in touch with this person, still in a relationship with them, I think this person acknowledges that they're not always the most nice person to be around. They're not always the most tactful person. Yeah, I think sometimes, for those of you that are still friends with this person, some of you feel as though they turn on you out of the blue, or they make nasty comments, or they say things that just don't add up with the person they were like 10 minutes ago, you know? And they're aware of that, but it's almost like they're not really sure what to do about it, kind of thing. Yeah, I hope that was able to answer your question, Group 2. Obviously, it's never just a straight yes or no, or with a literary quote, but hopefully it has some wisdom for you. Thank you so much for being here. Really means a lot to me. I hope that you've enjoyed this reading. It was an honor to read for you today. Please do let me know in the comments what you thought, if it resonated, if you like this kind of reading as well, because it's a little bit unusual for a tarot reading in that it's not, well, a YouTube tarot reading at least, in that it's not a love reading, it's not a spiritual kind of reading, it's also not a prediction reading, it's a platonic relationship reading. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, do let me know if you found this helpful. And yeah, please like, share and subscribe. It means an awful lot to me. Have a lovely rest of your day, Group 2. Take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye. Hi there, Group 3. Welcome to your reading. This is for those of you who chose the 8 of Wands as your pile marker card. These fairies putting their wands into the fire. There's also the little owl up there on the branch, and also the Neopets tarot. So this is for you. So Group 3, 8 of Wands makes me think of busyness, makes me think of lots of things happening at once. The image on this card is also very collaborative. Maybe this is someone whom you met as part of a group, or they are part of or were part of a friendship group for you. Maybe they are someone who is very upbeat, very busy, very energetic, perhaps. Let's get straight into it. So we're going to pull tarot cards for you. We have lots of oracle cards. We'll be putting charms and dice on top, what I call the toppings for my reading. We usually use charms and dice. Sometimes we do other things like rune stones or divination tokens, but usually it's charms and dice, and that's what we're doing today. And at the end of your reading, Group 3, we will also be opening the literary book of answers to get a literary quote in answer to a question for you. So if you have a question that is connected to the person that you're asking about today, or kind of adjacent to the situation, and you find that it doesn't get answered in the main reading, then just hold on to it and we'll see if we can get an answer for you at the end of the reading. You might also just like to think of a question, even if there wasn't one that you particularly had, but just think of one and we can get an answer for you at the end. Okay, Group 3, how is this person thinking and feeling about you? What are their thoughts and feelings towards you, even if they're not in your life anymore? When they were reminded of you, or when they think of you, What are the thoughts and feelings that come up? Group 3. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm sorry if it's a little bit dark as well. Let me just put a lamp on. It's gotten really dark outside since I started filming. We're not really having a summer in the UK at the moment, unfortunately. It's just grey, pouring with rain, overcast. Unfortunately. So, group 3, you have strength as your first card there. Leo's energy. One of you could be a Leo. You have 2 of Pentacles. You also have 7 of Swords. And you have 7 of Cups. 2 sevens. Interesting. Okay, so I think this person, in a way, they're a little bit unsure how they feel about you. I think this person gets a little bit discombobulated when you come up in their thoughts. Maybe because they're still processing some things that have happened. Maybe because it's early days in your relationship and they're still a little bit unsure as to what to think. I get the sense that you've been very kind to this person, group 3, and they really recognize your kindness. They also think of you as being very strong, very courageous, perhaps even confident, but the word that comes to mind is like brave, courageous, kind. And there is, okay, obviously take what resonates with you here. I'm going to be interpreting the cards based on different situations, but if this is someone that you currently know and you haven't known them for very long, then the 7 of Swords is pointing to them not kind of having enough information to really judge something. So they're still working things out in terms of how they feel about you. There's still some things they don't know about you. You know, they're acknowledging that. If this is someone you've known for a longer time and that wouldn't make sense, or if this is someone you used to know, then I think the 7 of Swords is pointing to some kind of betrayal, some kind of lying, something where there was unfair behavior or something was kept from someone is what I'm seeing. And it's not necessarily malicious. Like, it's not necessarily that someone cheated you out of money or you betrayed this person or they lied to your face. But I kind of get the sense that there's been some dishonesty or there's been some information that was held back from one or perhaps even both of you. Let's get straight into your oracle cards because this is really interesting. Group 3. This feels slightly different from the previous 2 readings. I also get the sense that for many of you, if you're asking about a former friend or someone that you have fallen out with or no longer speak to, that there's a lot of things about this relationship that this person feels is unresolved for them, that they didn't get closure for. Never jam today. Promises that never come to life. Promises that never come to be. Empty words. Not living in the now. Number 35. Empty words, not living in the now. Yeah, this is what I mean. It's not necessarily lying, but it's something where perhaps this person hoped for something and it didn't come to pass with your relationship, or maybe they felt like the two of you had such hopes for the future, or you used to talk about future plans and it never ended up happening for whatever reason. Maybe this person feels like you say you're going to meet up with them and then there's always something that gets in the way that stops that from happening. Or maybe this is them acknowledging that that's the case with them, that they are the flaky one. Little baby's dummy in this swirling vortex of things. Interesting. Maybe this is a childhood friend. And so this person sort of associates you with childhood and things that happened before they were fully grown up and matured. Maybe for some of you, like one or both of you has children, and that has been how you met each other. Maybe you met at a baby group, or you met when your kids were in the same class. Maybe the children have kind of, without meaning to, have sort of driven a wedge between the relationship. Maybe one of you's got kids, the other one doesn't. That means that your lifestyles are now very different. That means that you're struggling to find time to meet up with each other and do the sort of things you used to do. All tied up, 23. That's interesting, because this to me is kind of pointing to the Seven of Swords a little bit. Of not having all the information, being restricted in some way. Also Seven of Cups, so like things being up in the air. I guess you could say the same with the Two of Pentacles, given she's literally juggling them. Sense of things being up in the air, being restricted, being limited. Perhaps some of you, this relationship broke down through no fault of either of you. You know, it was different lifestyles and you drifted apart, or it was something when you were children that was completely out of your hands, like your parents sent you to a different school and that meant that you didn't get to see this person anymore, or you moved away or something like that, and this person is kind of recognizing that there were restrictions that stopped you from being able to perhaps do the things that you both dreamed of doing or promised each other that you would do. For some of you, I'm getting that this person feels guilty in some way, specifically around something that they probably shouldn't feel guilty for, if that makes sense. Like, the feeling is that, you know, maybe this is very specific, but like you both made plans to go to the same university and this person didn't get the grades that they needed, whereas you did, and it meant that you got to go and move on in that way, but they had to make different choices, and that dream never materialized. I mean, it did for you, but not in the way that you wanted it to, because you weren't together. Take that how it resonates for you, group 3, but there's something like that this person keeps thinking of, like, oh, what if? Like, realistically, they know that they couldn't have done anything differently, or they couldn't have influenced the situation to have a different outcome, but there is a guiltiness that they're feeling. Few cards from this deck. So family, 2, number 2. So, you know, as I said, this for many of you is indicating that you have children. That was how you met this person, or that is partly what's causing an issue. Or you were children when you met. This person saw you as being like family. They still kind of feel that way in a sense, even if it's been many, many years. They still kind of feel like, yeah, that was the first best friend that I ever had, or that person was there for me at a time when no one else was, and they were honestly like my family. Okay, the Sacred Temple, number 5. This person sees you as having been quite spiritual. Maybe they felt that there was a spiritual connection to your relationship. Peace, number 2. That's nice. And it's interesting because in a way, like, I don't feel they've made peace with things. If you no longer speak to them, I kind of feel like because of the lack of closure or the what ifs, this person isn't fully at peace with the way your relationship ended, or the fact that it's ended, or that you're no longer in touch. Maybe you made them feel like everything was going to be okay. You gave them that peaceful feeling. Behind a mask is also coming up. Number 3. Maybe this person knew that something was going to happen. Like, they knew that they were being put into a different school or something, and they didn't tell you because they didn't want it to feel real, or they didn't have the courage to tell you. And so they just sort of didn't really mention it until it happened, and then you were like, what on earth is going on, kind of thing. You might have felt really betrayed or really lied to. from this person, and they're acknowledging that. Stormfields, number 9. I also think that for a lot of you, this person feels as though you haven't been entirely honest with them, or that there were things that you haven't shared. Like some of you, I feel as though you were going through some things and you didn't share it with this person because you had to be the strong one. You felt like you had to be the strong one for them. You didn't want to burden them with extra stuff. And then when later down the line it came out that this had happened, or that maybe they just suspected that this had happened, they felt hurt. They felt hurt that you didn't share it with them. I think also this person's memories of you or thoughts about you are really overclouded by whatever happened, whatever they don't have closure on. Escapist, come home to yourself. Group 1 got this one as well, I think. Number 32. This person feels really at home with you. And this goes back to the family message. Like they really feel or felt as though you were their family. They were so close to you. And maybe that's why some of these people have had a negative reaction to you holding things back, because maybe they told you everything that was on their mind. They really offloaded, and it felt like you weren't sharing to the same level, perhaps. Also, it's interesting, and I'll mention it because just in case it's relevant, in group 1, obviously this girl is holding a spell book. However, when I pulled the card out for group 1, I actually saw it as like a scrapbook or a photo album at first. So I will say it in case it's relevant for you. This person may have physical photos or letters or mementos of some kind from you, maybe things that you bought them, things that you made them, possibly even something less, like more adjacent, something like a particular outfit that they always remember they were wearing when they did this thing with you, or something they bought while they were out and about with you and it reminds them of you. And so there is something physical that they have that they look at that reminds them of you, whether it's a picture or more of an object. Das innere Kind, the inner child. This has been a theme, I think, in group 2 as well, where some of you are asking about childhood friends. And so this person still kind of sees you as a kid. They don't, because they haven't had contact with you since then, even if they've seen pictures of what you look like now, or they've seen you out and about in town or whatever, like deep down, every time they think of you, they just think of you as like a 9-year-old or a 5-year-old or whatever it might be. You know, they think of you as how you were when they knew you. And if this is someone you met as an adult, maybe it's that you're in your 40s now, but they remember you as a 30-year-old or a 25-year-old or something. And that's how they think of you. And they sort of imagine you as living the same lifestyle that you did back then. And then they've got to remind themselves, no, so-and-so's got kids now, like they live a completely different life, etc. It's kind of weird for them. You're like this perpetual younger version of yourself in their mind. Also, this shows me that this person really enjoyed, like really had a lot of fun with you. For many of you, you know, childhood friends, it will literally be play. This person really enjoyed playing with you. They remember that they had a lot of fun with you. A lot of sort of carefree, innocent memories. For some of you, it's more just that you made this person laugh a lot, or they had a lot of fun with you, or they really enjoyed spending time with you. 2 cards here. So you have Priest and Hedonist. First one, Priest. Light attributes, facilitates spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. Shadow attributes, violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your own spiritual role. So that is fitting with the sacred temple, that this person sees you as spiritual in some way. Hedonist, light attributes, inspires creative energy to embrace the good things in life, celebrates the beauty in yourself. Shadow attributes, pursues pleasure to the detriment of health, indulges at the expense of others. So you could have met this person through church or a spiritual gathering of some kind, like at a sound bath or something. Hedonist, again, also just like really shows that this person sees you as fun-loving and someone who is able to really enjoy things, really live in the moment. Catnip, bond. Strong bond. And garlic, repel. Interesting. Now this, maybe there's a bit of codependency in this friendship. That will resonate with some of you. Also for some, the bond may have felt suffocating. Like think of catnip, they're sort of drawn to it in a almost addictive kind of way. You know, the bond might not have been entirely healthy at all times. This person maybe felt like they depended on you far too much, or, you know, your lives became very enmeshed with each other. Repel, maybe one of you took a step back. Maybe this person did that, maybe you did. Maybe you've sort of gone through cycles with this person where you've been really, really close friends, and then one of you ghosts the other one for like months or years, and then suddenly you bump into each other and it's like nothing's ever happened, and you go back to that cycle of being like really close, hanging out a lot, spending time, sending messages on the phone, etc. And then it's like, oh, suddenly we're not speaking again. And nothing really has happened. It's just that it's just this cycle of on again, off again. Really, really interesting, group 2. Let's get into your charms, because I'm curious to see what they have to say. We're going to do charms and dice. And then obviously we've got your literary book of answers for your question at the end. Okay, so what do we have here? We have Capricorn. Okay, so one of you could be a Capricorn. We also had Leo earlier on. What else do we have? Warrior. This person sees you as being very strong, very powerful. As I mentioned earlier, like brave or confident or courageous. Maybe they saw you like stand up for something you believed in. Maybe you defended this person in an argument, or when they were being bullied or badly treated by someone else. They see you as very strong because maybe they think that they wouldn't have, you know, done the same for you in the same situation, or they wouldn't have felt strong enough to speak up for themselves, perhaps. Maple leaf, some of you are Canadian, or this person is from Canada. This is also a symbol of strength and fortitude and stamina. They see you as very determined, someone who can stick to things for the long haul. The happy couple. Like, honestly, some of you, with this person, you were joined at the hip. Like, this is like, literally, you were like a couple. They see you as being like that person that was always there. You know, maybe you were very, very different as people, but you just got along for whatever reason, and you were best friends, so you were always there for each other. The Hanged Man. sacrifice, or this sense of limbo, of contemplation, of that break period. Maybe that's the repel message. They recognized that there was just this time of silence, or this time of just suddenly, the two of you weren't together anymore, weren't talking anymore. A shift in perspective, the spiral, change in how you viewed each other, perhaps, change in circumstances that made you focus on other things or other people. The cupcake treat. This person, as I said, really had a lot of fun with you, really enjoyed spending time with you. This little dog symbol, this charm always makes me think of someone who's happy to see you. Like, I get quite an energetic vibe from this person. Like, they're someone who would literally run across the room to give you a big hug when they saw you. It's that kind of feeling of oh my goodness, it's you, you're here, sort of thing. Kind of so effusive, and maybe that's why it's even more confusing when they ghost you, or when they're suddenly no longer there. Baby tapir, shyness, immaturity, lack of confidence. That definitely fits where this person sees you as the brave and strong one, and them as a shyer, more introverted perhaps, or just weaker kind of person. Big love heart this person has, or had a lot of love for you, and that comes through when they think about you. They get that warm feeling. Fleur de lis, this is about commitments and keeping your word, sticking to your word. I kind of call it the chivalry charm, like a knight's word is his honor kind of thing. And so there is really something here about you promised each other something, or one of you made a promise to the other one, or you had plans for the future that didn't materialize, or one of you was flaky and didn't show up to things that they'd said they were going to be there for. That's kind of something that this person thinks about when they think of you. They see you as hardworking, and also kind of reaping the rewards of that hard work. Now, interestingly, you have the gear landing on priest and spirit, the temple, and also the inner child. Whenever I get the gear landing on something, it means that it is currently in motion. That thing is currently happening. So maybe you've become more spiritual recently, or maybe that wasn't really who you were before, but now that's how they see you. They've heard that you're doing these things spiritually, or that you've joined a church or something. And so that's something that they think about as well when you come to mind. Let's get your dice on top as well, and then we'll finish with your Book of Answers, group 3. Okay, we're rolling the second set of dice for you. Those are the original dice. Okay, so let's see how many of them we're going to roll. Group 3. 7. Okay, lovely. Okay, interesting. So you have the moon, fears, intuition. Maybe they've dreamt about you recently, or they've had quite a lot of dreams about you since you last spoke, or something like that. Ups and downs. A relationship being on the up. Maybe things were always pretty good with this person, and then something just happened that meant that you stopped talking, or whatever it is that has brought you to this reading today, asking about this person in particular. They see you as very perceptive. Someone who's very, notices things, Communicative, chatty, talkative. I think they can remember a lot of the things that you've said, or that a lot of the things you've said to them in the past have really stuck with them, even to this day. And that is still the case if you're still in touch with this person. Like, they still think about some of the things you've said, whether they were funny things, whether they were sort of profound, deep and meaningful things. You know, they think about a lot of those things. They remember like your exact words. You have the sheep. One of you could be born in the year of the sheep or goat. Maybe that was an important year for this relationship. Maybe it was when you met. Maybe it was when you stopped speaking, if that is applicable to this situation for you. Sheep also makes me think about someone who just follows mindlessly or just does whatever they can to sort of fit in with the crowd. Maybe this person has made decisions in the past where they felt as though, you know, they just wanted an easy life, and that was the decision they made, and it wasn't necessarily the right one. Or it could be going back to that message of cowardliness versus your courage. Have rainbow blessings and the key. Yeah, like I think this person really feels as though you've brought a lot of joy and positivity into their life. They have a lot of happy memories relating to you. They feel quite happy when they think of you. But there's still that thing that's unresolved for them. And with the key, they're clearly hoping that one day it will be resolved. Whether that's through processing it themselves, whether it's through speaking to you, whether it's through therapy. You know, they're hoping that something will shift that stuckness that they feel. Because it's almost like... jittery isn't the word, but it's just like up in the air is what I feel like. There was something that was left unsaid, or there was something that they never fully understood why that happened, or they never really got to explain something. Or it was like if you did stop speaking to each other, that happened very suddenly. And for some of you, it was outside of both of your control. And so they kind of are just a bit like, I wasn't given the chance to process that or get used to that, you know? Really, really interesting, group 3. Let's look at your book of answers now. If you don't have a question just yet, just pause the video and think of one. If you do, let's open the book for you and get the answer to your question. Group 3. If you wanna, you got to give up the shit that weighs you down. Okay, so this is Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon. Interesting. Okay, so obviously you'll all be asking very different things, but this is like saying this person is kind of keen to live an easy life. You know, it sort of mentioned it earlier, but it's like this person doesn't want to bring unnecessary stress or worry into their life, or they want to get rid of a burden that is already there. Now, I appreciate that's not a yes or no answer if that was what you were looking for, but this is something to do with the answer to your question is related to them wanting to feel better or wanting to unburden themselves or not bring extra stress or upset into their life. If you're asking why they did something, you know, maybe this is something they did hoping that it would make things easier for them, hoping that it would make them happier. Whether it did or didn't, that remains to be seen. But yeah, that is the answer that we got today. Sorry if it wasn't quite what you were hoping for or didn't quite answer your question, group 3, but for some of you, I'm sure it did. Thank you so much for being here. Please do like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. That means an awful lot to me and massively helps out my channel. If you enjoyed this, please share it with a friend. Please give it a thumbs up, or if you're not already a subscriber, please do consider subscribing and joining our lovely community here. I'd love to hear in the comments how this resonated with you. I'd love to hear if you enjoy this kind of reading as well. Do you like readings that aren't sort of necessarily about a love relationship, but is still looking into a relationship kind of thing, because I think it's a little bit unusual on YouTube to cover those kinds of readings. So if you enjoyed it, let me know, and I can look into making similar videos. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, Group 3. Take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.